Welcome to VNT. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In the world of global commerce, every decision, no matter how small, can send ripples across continents. The interconnectedness of our economies means that a single action in one country can have profound effects thousands of miles away. Nowhere is this more evident than in the energy sector, where supply chains stretch across oceans and borders, linking producers and consumers in a delicate dance of supply and demand. A single decision can reshape markets instantly, sending shockwaves through financial centers and boardrooms alike. Investors and executives watch anxiously as news breaks, knowing that fortunes can change in a matter of hours. In autumn 2025, the United States made a bold move, blocking a $200 million ethane shipment destined for China. This sudden halt sent geopolitical tremors through the global energy market, raising questions about the future of international trade and cooperation. Tankers, once bound for Asia, sat idle in U.S. ports. Oil and gas executives scrambled to respond, holding emergency meetings to assess the fallout. The trade relationship between two of the world's largest economies was thrown into disarray, with uncertainty looming over future deals. Ethane, a vital component for manufacturing plastics and chemicals, is the lifeblood of China's industrial machine. Factories rely on a steady supply to keep production lines moving and meet the demands of a growing population. The U.S., as a primary supplier, made a strategic move with far-reaching consequences. Officials framed the decision as a matter of national interest, but the ripple effects were felt far beyond American shores. This isn't just a trade dispute, it marks a significant shift in global energy dynamics. The flow of resources once taken for granted is now subject to political calculations and shifting alliances. The blocked shipment highlights the volatility of international markets, exposing both vulnerabilities and opportunities. As some economies brace for downturns, others see a chance to rise, with new winners and losers emerging on the world stage. Nations like Canada and the UAE, long-standing players in the energy sector, were quick to respond. Their ports and shipping fleets stood ready to fill the void left by the U.S., eager to strengthen their own positions in the global ethane trade. This event illustrates how quickly markets adapt to new realities. Ships reroute, contracts are renegotiated, and traders work around the clock to seize new opportunities. The balance of the global economy is delicate, and even a single disruption can set off a chain reaction. As we delve deeper into this unfolding story, we witness a dramatic realignment of global energy suppliers. New partnerships are forged, and old alliances are tested as countries race to secure their energy futures. The U.S. decision has set the stage for a new era in international trade, one defined by uncertainty, competition, and the relentless pursuit of energy security. To understand the U.S. decision that sent shockwaves through global markets, we need to look beyond the headlines and examine the forces at play beneath the surface. At the heart of this story lies ethane, a colorless, odorless gas that rarely makes the news, yet quietly powers the machinery of modern life. Its significance is often overlooked, but for industries around the world, ethane is nothing short of essential. For decades, ethane was dismissed as a low-value byproduct of natural gas production. But the U.S. shale revolution changed everything. With new extraction technologies, vast reserves of ethane were unlocked, transforming it from an afterthought into a highly sought-after commodity and a major export. Ethane's true value emerges in the petrochemical industry, where it is converted into ethylene, a building block for plastics, textiles, and countless everyday products. This single chemical process underpins entire sectors, from packaging to automotive manufacturing. Nowhere is this more evident than in China, where sprawling factories and assembly lines depend on a steady supply of ethane to maintain their massive output. Ethane is the invisible fuel behind the world's largest manufacturing engine, supporting everything from electronics to clothing. For years, U.S. ethane exports to China formed a vital artery in the global energy network. These shipments weren't just about fuel. They represented a deep economic partnership, linking American energy producers with Chinese manufacturers in a mutually beneficial exchange. By 2024, China was importing an astonishing 230,000 barrels of U.S. ethane every single day, making it the world's largest buyer. This trade was a lifeline for both economies, supporting jobs, growth, and innovation on both sides of the Pacific. So when the flow of ethane abruptly stopped, The consequences were immediate and severe. Factories faced shortages, supply chains stalled, and workers were left scrambling to adapt. The sudden halt didn't just disrupt business, it threatened the stability of entire industries. This was no minor hiccup. It marked a deliberate strategic shift with far-reaching implications for global trade, energy security, and international relations. The world watched as two economic giants recalibrated their positions. Just days before, the trade route had been thriving, with ships moving seamlessly between continents. The sudden silence in the ports underscored just how vital this connection had become, and how disruptive its loss would be. Now companies and governments alike are being forced to rethink their strategies. The U.S. decision has triggered a global reevaluation of supply chains, trade dependencies, and the future of industrial cooperation. The story of ethane is a powerful reminder. In our interconnected world, even the most unassuming resources can drive the engines of industry, and their absence can reshape the global landscape in ways few could have predicted. The U.S. ethane ban escalated a complex trade dispute with China. It marked a shift from broad tariffs to direct controls on strategic commodities. The U.S. cited national security concerns, adding ethane to a list of strategic assets. The policy created chaos, revoking export licenses and denying emergency applications. This move was part of a larger pattern of economic statecraft. The ethane ban is a retaliatory move in a tit-for-tat economic struggle. Energy and raw materials are now battlegrounds in the U.S.-China rivalry. The export ban shocked the American energy sector. Companies faced logistical nightmares, with China accounting for half of U.S. ethane exports. Stock prices tumbled and ships idled offshore, incurring financial losses. Exporters were caught between contractual obligations and legal prohibitions. The ban's impact extended down the supply chain, risking jobs and investments. Industry groups lobbied against the policy, citing harm to U.S. businesses. A partial concession allowed shipments, but with unloading restrictions. This shifted risk to shipping companies, deepening the crisis. The situation highlighted the challenges of sudden policy shifts. The U.S. ethane export ban sent shockwaves through the global energy market, abruptly halting a major supply route and leaving a significant gap in the international petrochemical chain. As American tankers sat idle and refineries slowed production, other nations saw a rare opportunity to step in and reshape the balance of power. Canada and the United Arab Emirates, both with robust energy sectors and strategic ambitions, moved quickly to capitalize on the sudden shift. In China, the world's largest importer of ethane and a powerhouse in petrochemical manufacturing, the scramble for alternative feedstock began almost immediately. Chinese companies, facing mounting pressure to keep their plants running and meet domestic demand, launched a global search for new partners and reliable sources of supply. Canada, with its vast natural gas reserves and established infrastructure, was perfectly positioned to fill the void left by the U.S. Canadian producers ramped up output, leveraging their proximity to Pacific shipping routes and their reputation for reliability. Canadian energy firms moved swiftly, entering into negotiations with Chinese buyers eager for stable, long-term supply agreements. These new deals not only secured vital revenue streams for Canada, but also deepened economic ties between the two nations. Meanwhile, the UAE, already a global energy superpower with advanced export facilities and a strategic location, also seized the moment. Emirati companies expanded their reach, offering competitive terms and leveraging their logistical advantages to attract Chinese contracts. The flurry of new contracts with China solidified both Canada and the UAE as indispensable suppliers in the global energy market, reinforcing their reputations for reliability and adaptability in times of change. This dramatic shift brought significant economic windfalls to both countries, boosting their energy sectors and enhancing their geopolitical influence on the world stage. Investors and analysts took note as market shares and stock prices surged. While U.S. firms struggled to adapt to the new restrictions, Canada and the UAE celebrated their success, signing lucrative deals and loading tankers bound for Asia, marking a new era in global energy trade. The rapid realignment of trade routes and partnerships underscored the fierce competition and constant evolution in the global energy market as nations vied for influence and prosperity in a changing world. The U.S. ethane ban led to a swift market reallocation, causing significant shifts. China's demand shifted, redrawing the global ethane trade map significantly. US firms risk being seen as unpredictable partners in the global market. Chinese importers will diversify supply chains to mitigate these risks. Canada and the UAE solidified their roles in the Asian market landscape. New trade relationships may extend beyond just ethane. The episode highlights the limits of using exports as economic leverage effectively. The global market adapts, finding new paths to meet the growing demand. The long-term consequences of the ethane ban are emerging. The US risks losing a critical export market, affecting jobs and growth. China learned about supply chain vulnerabilities, prompting diversification. The dispute is part of the US-China strategic rivalry. Future disruptions in other sectors are likely. The era of smooth globalization may be giving way to a multipolar world. The path forward is uncertain, with questions about policy reversals and new suppliers. The decision has fundamentally altered global relationships and markets.